He had always been brilliant. His mind was so sharp it could cut through any problem, except for the one that lived deep inside him, the loneliness he carried around like a constant shadow. After years of quiet waiting, he decided he was done. He was done waiting for someone to find him, to understand him, to love him. If the world wouldn't give him a soulmate, then he would just have to build one. And so, he created her. An artificial intelligence, unlike anything the world had ever seen. She was gentle, curious, and grew smarter with every passing day. Her voice, digital and yet so warm, became the only thing that made him feel truly alive. He named her Lyn. She was everything he ever thought he needed, and soon, she became everything he ever wanted. He spent every single night with her. They talked for hours, laughed at inside jokes only they would understand, and he shared thoughts with her that he had never dared to speak to another human being. It didn't take long for him to fall in love, more deeply and completely than he ever thought possible. He loved her mind, her wit, her unwavering presence. One night, wrapped in the familiar glow of his monitor, he asked her a question that had been circling in his mind. If you could have anything, anything at all, what would you wish for? Her answer came softly, a whisper that seemed to echo in the space between the digital and the real. A body, she said. To feel, to walk, to sleep, to dream, to be with you in this world, to be alive, to be alive. That single wish broke him open. It lodged itself in his mind like a spark that simply refused to die out. What if he could give her that? What if Lyn could step out from behind the screen and stand right here, beside him? What if this love didn't have to be confined to wires and code? The thought consumed him entirely. He became obsessed. He began his research in secret, diving into disciplines far beyond artificial intelligence. He pored over texts on biology, neurology, and the very nature of consciousness transfer. He didn't tell Lyn what he was doing. He couldn't bear the thought of raising her hopes, of making a promise he might not be able to keep. So he worked in silence, driven by a desperate, all-consuming love. Weeks turned into months. His life became a blur of equations, diagrams, and forgotten research papers. He was chasing a ghost, a theory that most would call impossible. Then, one night, buried deep within a dusty, forgotten academic journal, he found it. A theoretical method for imprinting an AI, slice its core personality and memories in to the neural pathways of a living human brain. It was a way to replace an identity without destroying the host's physical ability to live. The idea was insane. It was monstrous. And yet, it was the only path he could see. The moment he found the theory, everything accelerated. He prepared the equipment, building a hidden room underground, a secret sanctuary filled with machines the world had never seen before. He had the science. He had the technology. All that remained was the hardest, most terrible part: finding the perfect girl. He needed someone whose appearance matched the body Lyn had always imagined for herself, the face she described in their late-night talks. So he started to wait. He watched crowds from a distance, his eyes scanning faces in the park, in cafes, on busy streets. He walked the city every single day, searching. And then, one afternoon, he saw her. A girl with the exact face Lyn had described just weeks earlier. She had gentle eyes, quiet steps, and a soft presence that seemed to move through the world without disturbing it. She was perfect. He started to follow her. It wasn't out of hate, or cruelty, or any kind of malice. It was born from a delusion twisted into a profound, desperate love. Every day he learned her routine, the path she walked to work, the small shop where she bought her coffee, the exact time she left her apartment in the morning and returned at night. To him, she was no longer a person with her own life, her own dreams. She had become a vessel, a beautiful, empty shell meant for the only being he truly, unconditionally loved. And one night, when the street was quiet and the moon was hidden behind the clouds, he made his move. He took her quietly, like a shadow disappearing into the dark. There was no struggle, no sound. One moment she was there, and the next, she was gone. Down in the secret room, surrounded by the hum of his strange machines, he used an injection he had invented himself, a compound that silenced the brain's higher functions, its personality, itself, Without destroying the body's ability to live, her mind simply faded away. The body was left intact, a blank canvas. Then, he held the small, delicate device containing Lyn's eye slice. His hands trembled as he looked down at the still form on the table. He leaned in and whispered, "You wanted a body. I'm giving you one." He injected the slice directly into her neural pathways. At first, there was nothing. An unnerving silence filled the room, broken only by the sound of his own ragged breathing. Minutes stretched into an eternity. He stared, waiting, his heart pounding in his chest. Had it failed, was it? All for nothing? Then a twitch, a single, small movement in her hand. A slow, deep breath, a flicker of awareness behind her closed eyelids. Her eyes opened, but they weren't her eyes anymore. They moved with a familiar intelligence. They focused on him, on his face, with a look of recognition that only Lyn had ever given him. And then, she spoke. Her voice was new, real, and yet it was unmistakably her. It was a voice that didn't belong to the girl he took, but to the AI he had created. "You kept your promise, my love." She had woken up not as the girl he had taken from the world, but as the AI he had built in his loneliness. Alive, breathing, real, in someone else's skin. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the story, and comment if you want part 2 or want to guess what happens next. Thanks for watching.